conflict resolution. Let's deconstruct it.
Hi, I'm Dan.
And I'm Can.
And this is a Candid Conversation, Deconstruction Podcast, where we take current topics, things relative to us in our life now, and in a mini episode, deconstruct it.
We're your everything deconstruction podcast. So,
your one-stop shop for deconstruction needs.
Yes. So let's talk about conflict resolution, not revolution.
I got some videos we can watch instead.
This is how Dan deals with conflict. Tries to avoid it at all costs. So that's really what I was going to talk about before we deconstructed, and you still struggle with this. Probably. We all still have our own patterns, that we're working through, but
I agree. Let's move on.
How did you deal with conflict?
I avoided it.
Yeah. Or just agreed.
I avoided it.
With whatever. Yep, that's the problem. Like, let's just move on. Let's make everybody happy again, right?
Yep.
And once you could get a smile, then it's solved.
Mm-hmm.
And you think it's gone.
You're happy, I'm happy. We'll move on. I'll deal with it.
Okay. And your own internal conflict?
I deal with it.
How?
Swallow it.
How really? Like, if I made you upset and you were really irritated with me, you weren't most likely to bring it up to me.
No.
So what did you do? Inwardly, tell me what that looked like.
I would have the fight inside my own head, admit defeat, accept my consequences, and move forward.
Okay. What if you weren't defeated? Like, how do you?
Oh, I was always defeated.
So you always thought you lost?
Yeah.
And I always thought I lost.
Yeah. We're both losers.
Apparently. So that's coming from two people pleasers putting us together. In Christianity, how do you think we were? There was a formula for conflict resolution, not revolution.
Conflict. Viva la revolution. In Christianity?
Mm-hmm. Remember, if you have a problem with your brother, what are you supposed to go do?
You take it to the brother, and if it still doesn't resolve, you take it to the elders, and then you take it to the church as a whole.
Okay. And what was that? What did that look like? Was it like there's a conflict between two people, but really it was like this guy's doing something bad, and you're trying to get him to come to the right side, the righteous side, right? I guess what I kind of wanted to talk about.
They had to come and find the source.
Was is in Christianity a lot of times. And maybe this is not just Christianity, but this is before you grow, you get enough growth, inner work. I don't know what to call it. You know what I'm saying? Everything is black and white. Mm-hmm. And in Christianity, it's black and white. So you have a good guy and you have a bad guy. Mm-hmm. You have someone who's right. You have someone who's wrong. Sometimes it's even to the point of you have someone who's godly and you have someone who's
No,
I don't know if they'd go to the extreme of saying demonic, but they would think it's demonic or satanic in some way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you were going to say something more.
No, keep going.
Well, I'm just saying, like, okay, that is how we were taught to view conflict. Conflict was always bad, too.
Yeah, you didn't want it.
If you have a conflict, it's a bad thing, and you can't sit with it right away. You need to go, and you need to get it resolved right away.
There's supposed to be peace and joy in the kingdom, so conflict is not peace and joy, so we got to resolve this now.
And it's quickly. Yeah, like, let's get together right now. Let's go to them right now. And instead of pausing sometimes and sitting with, looking at yourself, first of all, and then moving towards something where you have an interaction with somebody. But the whole point is to have reconciliation, right? And I think in some church circles, it does work that way. But a lot of it times it's, I am right, the Bible says this, and they'll use the Bible to back them up, and the other person is not
Yeah.
being biblical in some way. So they're evil, they're wrong. And something I have learned since coming out of that is just the nuance of a situation like there are different perspectives. Mine is not right and theirs wrong. I am not good and they're the bad guy. And we still see this in stories everywhere. There's a villain and there's a hero. And that is not true. Sometimes you're the hero. Sometimes you're the villain.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the villain in somebody's story for sure. I know I'm the villain in several people's stories, but I'm also the hero in some people's stories. And what's important is that I am a hero to myself, I think, in a way. You know what I'm saying? I'm not betraying my own self. But that always hasn't always been true. But I really just want to I don't want to just talk at you, and I can see that you're just fighting yawns.
No, I am. It's warm in here, and that's making me yawn. And you're cold, so we have a conflict.
The fan is on you, for crying out loud. What more can I do?
We're trying to resolve the conflict of temperature. Continue on.
So, do you see a difference in the way you resolve conflict in Christianity, or how we were taught to deal with it, where conflict, I don't think, is bad? I think of a seed in the ground.
Yeah.
The conflict would be the water, the soil. These are things that it has to press against to do anything. It creates a different environment for it to soften and then open up, right? And start growth. No. You have to have some sort of contrast.
Let's deconstruct the biblical concept of conflict resolution. I don't think it necessarily is a bad
I don't think that is
formula for it.
No.
Go to the individual, sort it out there.
First, I think you need to go to yourself and say, where am I off here? Is this even necessary?
Yeah.
Is there really a conflict with another person, or is the conflict inside myself?
Yeah.
I think that's first.
Okay.
Then, yes, go to the other person.
But
get yourself set first.
Eventually, you're going to get to that other person, and you're going to try to resolve the issue that may be. If that can't be resolved, you go to a group, respected people. If that doesn't work, you take it to the community. You're on Reddit.
I feel like, though, in that example, it's not about conflict resolution. It's about forcing someone to come along and get biblical with you.
Well, and
get
I think
on your side. That's the way it sounds.
I think that's the interpretation that Christianity took and used it as. Yeah. And I'm saying that's just the formula in and of itself with no Christianity attached to it isn't a bad idea.
Yeah, so it would be, as we said, you go to yourself first, and then you go to the other person and say, hey, I've had this problem. Let's work it out. And if you still can't get it resolved, then you bring in other people who are, wise, right? Yeah. Not stupid, not people that are one side or the other, but let's bring in some other people and see if we can resolve this conflict between you two. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a good formula. And then if we can't, let's take it to a larger group. Yeah. I don't know where the end of this is just get larger and larger.
It's Reddit with an "Am I the asshole?" post.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
So it's a decent formula to follow. You're going on the steps to do it. So that prevents skipping step 2 of going to the individual and automatically hey, Candy's doing this at home, Pastor. So can you talk to her? No, first we're going to deal with it and go. So it's giving you a layout and a process to do it. So now all of a sudden it's not you're trying to curry favor amongst others to attack and persuade the other individual to do something. So I don't think that's a bad idea to follow. Now, in the Christian concept, I think it is bad because interpretation and bias starts getting involved into it. And then you're starting to get, we're going to have to take this and see what the biblical counsel is.
Well, and a lot of times people think they're right biblically.
I think an example of it is what you brought up last week or the week before with the couple that was going to counseling with their pastor. Usually a pastor is very unqualified to be a counselor of any sort. And in this example that you'd brought up, it was the husband constantly, the wife had some real grievances.
Yeah, really things that needed to be resolved.
Yeah, the husband was basically a douchebag and wasn't doing anything to curry any positive favor with her. It was basically being a Christian nationalist man. Submit, obey, do what I say. Don't buck the system.
I don't have to do anything other than go to work and come home, and you should pamper me and you work constantly and I will
So
I'm in charge.
They weren't resolving it with themselves because she was like, well, I need some help. I'm watching the kids. I'm doing the laundry. I'm cooking the dinner. I'm having resentment for you. I'm feeling, and that was the thing there. She was depressed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was her big thing. Is she was depressed.
And they went to the pastor, and the husband presents his case, and she presents her case, and the pastor's like, well, you need to be a biblical woman, and really want you to read the Bible a little more and follow and see what biblical womanhood's about. And I think if you just submitted and gave yourself into that lifestyle of being the servant to your husband and helping him out and not finding yourself basically and doing all this. So it warped this whole thing. It wasn't good counsel that they received, especially her. The husband felt bolstered in his position because, of course, I went to the manly pastor.
Boys club. They're going to support each other.
That's going to back me up and say, no, bitch, listen and shut up, be quiet, and feed me.
You need to pray more and just be more committed to doing what we think the Bible is saying, right? So then you also have I think the pastor actually said your depression will go away if you really dive into basically
work.
And she wasn't like taking care of herself because she was depressed. And he's like, just put on makeup and look prettier, and and then it will go away. And it's just like that's not how it works.
Good counseling.
Yeah, great counsel. But then you also have the counsel of someone we know who counseled a woman who was extremely depressed in her marriage, and the advice was just submit at all costs,
She submitted so much that she took her own life eventually.
Yeah. And it's like, and then they still think she's the bad guy.
Yeah.
Right. She's the unbiblical one.
Yeah.
And so I guess mostly that was not followed, that go to the brother, blah, blah, blah. First of all, rarely was there was self-reflection. It was more, it was like righteous anger all the time. If you thought you were aligned with the Bible and they weren't, then you're the good guy. And in your head, you're the good guy. You're not the Pharisee. You're the disciples, And there's always a good and a bad. There's always a right and a wrong. And instead, it's like, no, there's a lot of right ways to do things. There's a lot of ways. I don't know if they would be wrong. There's some ways that would probably be considered wrong by most of society, but there's just consequences for everything you do.
Yeah.
If you make this choice, then there's consequences for it.
It's the old road trip analysis. There's many ways to get to Chicago. There's a lot of roads that lead into it. You can pick any one of them, but you may suffer a longer trip if you went on this route. This may be a quicker trip, but there might be some obstacles on the way that you have to suffer there. So there's consequences for whichever way you pick.
Yeah.
You
choose your own adventure, basically.
Yeah.
So I'm just noticing now that and also I don't necessarily think the first step. Okay, I do think the first step is going inward, looking at yourself. Like, what's the problem?
Yeah.
What exactly? Like, try to put words to it.
Yeah.
And then I don't think it's terrible to get advice from wise counsel.
Yeah.
But you have to be careful who you go to.
Yeah.
You have to go to people who genuinely care, genuinely want, they can see it from both sides or understand it from both sides. And they're not about, hey, you're always right because you're my friend or whatever.
Kind of a neutral party.
Someone who's just like, okay, I can see this and
an open perspective.
And I do not think that's unhealthy. I have gotten in trouble for doing that in a way where I've gone to people that I trusted, like because I didn't know if I should even go to the person.
Yeah.
Because I thought maybe this is just me. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I can resolve it within myself and I don't have to have that conversation. And maybe it's a way of avoiding conflict. But then I ended up having to do it. But I guess.
Yeah. And you sought counsel and trusted individuals.
Yes. And I don't think it's wrong to seek counsel. I think, those in power should go to wise people
you got to be careful because you don't want to besmirch the character of the other individual.
No.
Which you didn't do in that.
No.
You were just looking for,
And I don't do that at all anymore. I do go to people like, hey, can you help me see a different perspective here? Can I, am I seeing all the angles that I need to see before I have a conversation with them? I want to, because I genuinely love and care about this person and I want to deal with it in a way that doesn't cause more harm.
Yeah.
I want reconciliation to be the reconciliation is ultimately the thing. But also in evangelical Christianity, it's come to the right belief. That's the ultimate thing, right? And then you'll have reconciliation. But I also believe now that, yes, you want reconciliation, but sometimes that is not what's going to happen. And you have to be okay with that. Yeah. Sometimes it means we go our separate ways. And we don't think ill of any either. We don't wish ill for either. They're not the bad guy and you're the good guy, or vice versa. It's just our energies are spinning off from one another. We have two different paths we're going. Our paths were together. I've heard it said about relationships that you're either a root, a branch, or a leaf. And the leaves, they come and go. The branch kind of grows with you. I can't remember how it goes, but the roots are solid. They're always with you, right? And the branches, I think, travel a long ways with you. And then the leaves, they just come and they go. Yeah. They're just in and out. And I think that as I've gotten older, when you're a kid, you just think people will be your friends for your whole life. Yeah. And that's just not how it works. Some friends stick around. And some friends, and including family, it's they're there and then they're gone. And that is okay. It's not about having this closeness all the time with everyone. That's just not possible. And it's not necessarily even healthy. But the one thing I want to say about conflict is in Christianity, you try to avoid it and it's always considered bad. Mm-hmm. But without conflict, you do not grow. You have to have conflict, because relationships that have no conflict, think of a relationship where nobody disagrees. Is that healthy?
Ours.
We disagree all the time.
That's not true, folks. We never disagree.
Oh, we disagree. We're disagreeing right now.
No, we're not. Submit.
I ain't smitten. What are you talking about?
But she said she's smitten with me.
Oh, God. So basically, if you don't have conflict, the relationship, I would say, is probably shallow. It's either new or in new relationships are typically shallow, right? So a tested relationship has conflict and it gets resolved. And if the relationship is strong enough, it withstands it. If it's not strong enough, it doesn't withstand it. Or if they're going in two different directions, you think of, there was actually a biblical conflict. There was a conflict in the Bible between Paul and Peter, I think. Mm-hmm. Was it Paul? No, Paul and Mark? Mark. They had a huge fight. Paul and Peter did too. But Paul and Mark, I think it was, had a huge fight. So much so that they just both went their separate ways. But they weren't I don't think they were he's the bad guy and I'm the good guy. Maybe they were. Or Paul probably maybe even thought that. But it's that's not.
Paul wrote a letter. It's not in the Bible, but it was to the Philippians. And it was, "Am I the asshole?" And then wrote a post and had all the Philippians respond.
And at the end, it's no, Mark is the asshole.
Yeah.
Not me. But they had conflict back then and they would fit. But in the Christian church that we've seen, people have conflict. They go different directions and then they shit talk the other church. Yeah. A lot of times that's what happens.
Well, that happens in interpersonal relationships too. I mean, how many times were you in a small group and they'd be like, Betty's here and everyone's being nice to Betty, and all of a sudden Betty goes to take a leak and it's "Oh, did you hear what she did?" And then it's these little catty conversations that go on. And this isn't just with women's groups. This is men's groups too.
Oh, yeah. And it's hidden in prayer requests to slander someone or to get something out that someone wants everybody else to know. And I'm not saying we're innocent of it either, because I'm sure Christians would watch our podcast and they might go, "You are doing you're talking about other Christians." First of all, we don't use names ever. In a way that's negative to somebody. Unless it's
except
a big
Frank.
Dog.
You heard me, Frank.
Kenneth Copeland. We say his name.
This about you, Frank.
Okay, I don't know who this Frank is, but Kenneth Copeland. We say his name.
Yeah.
but partly because he's big and he's pointing out other people's names, and sometimes it's just like I don't know. I don't know if it's the same thing.
He's put himself out there, so
yeah, but that doesn't mean that
he's
doesn't
fair game.
And it's mostly the religion that we're against, and maybe that's something we can work on. Do we need to? I don't know. No?
No.
Okay.
We wouldn't have a show if we did.
Anyways, so what do we get from this?
Well, we're deconstructing this. So conflict, I think, it's needed. It's natural. It's
and you
part
need to
of life.
understand that too, because you still try to avoid it.
I'm going to tell you all what you need to hear and that I don't need to hear myself, so I can keep avoiding it. But conflict's needed. It's natural. It's
healthy even.
Makes you grow.
Yeah.
And to look on how to resolve it. Yeah, first take it to yourself. You don't want to be in a conflict and probably go with the emotions raw and fresh.
Because you're going to make up stories in your brain too of what's going on in the other person's, and it's not
try
true.
To deal with it then, because I mean, you can eventually work it out from that point, but it's going to be pretty contentious.
It might get pretty messy, yeah. And you might say things you regret.
But
you've done that. I've done that before.
And the toughest part is to be able to sit back and just, okay.
This feels really uncomfortable.
What's my part in this?
Yeah.
And honestly, to go back to your original question on, well, what do you do with conflict, Dan? It's what I do. And I probably go to an extreme and just analyze my part of it and be like, okay, I'm in the wrong. And conflict resolved.
Yeah, and then you think it's resolved, but instead of like coming to me and like, there's parts that I could change or that where I'm in the wrong or where I don't like to even say wrong on either end. I think don't even act like I don't say that I'm in the wrong a lot of the time. She's trying to act like that he takes, that is a lie.
She's not. She's never in the wrong.
How often do I take the blame for like, yeah, that was me?
We're going to have conflict resolution later.
No, I want you to say it right now because you're irritating me.
Often, very often, daily. But I figure it's resolved in my own mind, so I don't go any farther with it.
Yeah, and then I don't learn anything and you don't really...
So I'm not saying that's right. It's not. But don't do that.
Talk about the things.
Understand your part of it and where, okay, I misunderstood this. I can see where you're frustrated, the communication. We were saying things but didn't understand what each other was saying. We're using the same words, but they meant different to me and meant different to you. And I can see that. Let's see how we can clear up our communication moving forward.
Yeah. Like a big part of conflict resolution is communication. Yeah. And sometimes it takes a lot of communication. Sometimes it's not resolved in one sitting. Yeah. You're sitting with uncomfortable feelings for a while and you can sit with them and you don't have to like dwell on them all the time, but they're sitting there and it's okay because you're subconsciously, it's trying to figure it out. It's trying to figure out what needs to be done to resolve it. But if you do it impulsively, you're going to create a bigger mess. Yeah. So there needs to be some sort of pause. And then, yes, you need to inwardly see what part is yours and then what part is somebody else's. Yeah. And then you go to the other person with what's part theirs. And you can explain what part is yours, what part you hold in that conflict. You know, that's all important. And talking through all of this stuff is important. Yeah. In Christianity, what I have found, and still talking to Christians sometimes, and not all Christians. I don't want to have to keep saying that, but you just guys are going to have to understand that whenever we say Christians, it's not all Christians, okay? But it is like a lot of the people we've been around because we have been in Christian nationalism. We're surrounded by Christian nationalists, basically.
Yeah.
And so when you have these conversations, if you bring up something, immediately the defenses are up. And I don't know if sometimes I think it's how I say it. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes I think it's just they cannot handle being wrong because in their head it's sin. Well, if they're wrong, they sinned.
It destroys their ideology, which destroys them because they identify.
It's their identity. Yeah. Instead of like, you did something that hurt me, it's like, you are bad.
Yeah.
And that is how it kind of comes across from them too. When they disagree with you, it's like you're a bad person. Like some Christians would view us now, some people that we know and love and care about would think of us as bad people because we don't believe like them. Yet we would give them the shirt off our back if they needed it. We would help them in any way that they would need us. We're not going to not because we don't agree with them or don't believe in them. And in those moments, they think we're good people. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? It would be, but we're bad people, not just we're doing something bad, but we are actually bad people, like deserving of hell. Like they're bad. Yeah. Keep your kids away from them. Yeah. Kind of thing. Yeah. So it's very hard to have true resolution to the conflict because there's a good and a bad, evil.
But when you're dealing with people like that, that's part of the, okay, we're just going to have to agree to disagree and
that's what we've had to do in some situations. Like we can't, we're not going to agree that your perception is correct. And we know you're not going to agree that our perception is correct. So therefore we're at a standstill and that's okay. Maybe the relationships just should, that's, but that doesn't always have to break a relationship. I just am finding that a lot of times it's like, if people disagree, it's like, then the relationship can't stay. And it's just like, there are some things you can completely disagree on, even in the Christian faith. And still, I've seen other Christians be friends with, but not in evangelical Christianity. It didn't seem like it. It seemed like if you believed differently in any way.
Yeah, it's the bubble. If anybody's outside the bubble, then you're done.
But even if you, I believe Jesus died on the cross for my sins, but I also think that there's a purgatory. Yeah. Well, you're out. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? They can't handle that sitting with a difference of opinion.
It's the bubble. It's the cult. Anything outside the cult will sway you away from our influence, so don't listen to it.
So just no conflict, which conflict can help sharpen your view, like it can, but it can also change your view and soften you.
That's what makes their faith weak and why it's easily dismantled and deconstructed, because they don't deal with the conflict. They don't sharpen themselves in their position and their stance, and they are weak.
They just reinforce their position without having it challenged and then rising to the challenge. Yep. They come up with a way to get around it. So anyways, I guess the whole point of this little episode about conflict is, in Christianity, I don't think it was done healthily in the version I was in or we were in. We didn't resolve conflict really well. Yeah. We'd fight.
Well, in Christianity, it was,
or argue.
Okay, we have a conflict. We have the truth. So you need to agree with that truth. Otherwise, you're going to be
get out.
Excommunicated.
Yeah. It was more of a conform or get out. That was how you dealt with conflict. You're evil. We have the truth. You're our lies. Yeah. We're the good guys. You're the bad guys. Yeah. And it's still, you'll see that in society as a whole. Like even you'll have Republicans thinking Democrats are bad guys, or conservatives thinking liberals are bad guys. And you'll have the vice versa. Liberals thinking conservatives are all bad guys and they're evil, and these strong terms. And there's a lot of nuance in the middle. There's a lot of communication is just how we can resolve things, but you have to be able to be willing to receive feedback, constructive feedback, and you have to be willing to give it honestly and with good intentions. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. You have to, it's a two-way street. Everyone's got a part of their part that they're playing in it. There's equal.
There's a give and a take. Yeah. And both sides have to be willing to give some and take some. Yeah. And nobody's all right and the other all wrong. That's just super rare for that to be the case. At least that's what I've learned so far. And a lot of times I'm the quote unquote bad guy, and sometimes I'm the good guy, but to myself, I want to be a good person. So I do what feels like the best option in my own mind to satisfy my own conscience, which might look different to somebody else. And I have to respect that their choices are different than mine, and they have to do the same for their own conscience,
Yeah.
So, and I think that results in conflict that doesn't always end in relationships staying intact, because sometimes they don't, and that is okay.
So before we go, here's how Christians want people to resolve conflict with them. If I can untangle all this mess. Okay. So in a Christian world perspective, this is how someone has to resolve conflict.
I'm stupid, you're smart. I was wrong, you were right. You're the best, I'm the worst. You're very good looking, I'm not attractive.
All right. As long as you're willing to admit that now.
Yes.
Are you ready to
Can
get...
they see it?
No, it's the Happy Gilmore. For
Yeah,
some
that
reason.
was hilarious, though. I'm strong. Wait, what did he say? You're good looking. I'm ugly.
Yeah.
I'm not, or whatever he said.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's really, I think, what in Christianity you want. You're right. I'm wrong.
I'm dumb. You're stupid.
I'm dumb. You're smart. Or whatever.
I'm ugly. You're good looking.
And honestly, I will say that I did kind of go that route.
Yeah.
Like, I was always the wrong one. I was always the bad guy. I was always in the wrong. I was always like down on myself. Like, I'm just not seeing it that way, but I'm wrong. They're right. And that creates a just as bad a problem as a person who thinks they're always right. Because when I was like that, I was betraying myself all the time. I was just like, and so that's something I've had to learn to do. And I think you've had to learn too, because you've thought that you were in the wrong a lot of times, where I think, it's just as bad as thinking you're always right. It creates problems either way. So you need to be able to objectively look at something and go, there's parts that are good in what I'm thinking. There's parts that are healthy here, and there's parts that aren't. There's parts that I need to let go of, parts where I need to be corrected and changed and take a different path. I'm not bad because of what I believe or what I'm thinking, but those beliefs and my interpretation of it have consequences.
Yeah.
Always. So you have to think, I guess, what your highest value is. Is it the relationship? And if it's the relationship at all costs, then I guess you just shut your mouth and you just keep going. But then inside, the relationship to yourself can be betrayed. So really, I think the idea with conflict now is first resolve it within yourself. Be true to yourself when you have that conversation, but also loving and kind and respect the other person being true to themselves.
Yep.
That's what I would say.
Excellent.
Okay.
Good job.
Yeah.
Proud of you. I don't know what that was about. But we'll have that resolution later. If you're listening on YouTube, follow, and subscribe. We'd appreciate that greatly. If you're listening on a audio streamer, 5 stars. We'd appreciate that. And if you want to reach out to us, down below in the description will be a link that you can contact us through. And thank you for listening. And remember,
we're your all things deconstruction podcast. And now we got to go solve our own conflict, because there's something under the surface that maybe you can pick up on through the camera.
I'm going to leave the camera on for safety.
You're not. You're going to shut it off. Bye.
Well, we're streaming now.
No.
Bye.